We're going to make a character for the Canticle RPG. This is in the Legend Keeper site, which is a web app that manages RPG campaigns. Canticle is a game that I wrote, just basically all the information's on this website. These are my projects. This is the Canticle project. And we're just going to go straight into making a character rather than doing a whole walkthrough of what's on the site. So to make a new character, we're going to go to this Templates tab right here. Hover over Blank Character Sheet, click on the ellipsis, Create Page from Template. It's just asking if we want to duplicate all the subpages, which we do. Okay, so it's created a new character sheet, but it actually put it over here in the Project tab. So click on the Project tab. Oh, it looks like I've done this before, so I'll delete one of these. Now it won't be confusing. This is our blank character sheet here. After we're done making our character, we'll drop it into this PCs folder. These are all starter first level characters for the most part. So on this blank character sheet, there are 3 tabs. The main tab is all of your character information. The other 2 tabs are for creating a character. This is a checklist. And if you follow the steps from top to bottom, you'll have a complete character. The 3rd tab is for leveling up. This shows you how to level up. But we're going to go to the character creation tab first, find out what's the first step. In Canticle, characters are composed of 3 main decisions that you make that define your character. The first one is kindred, which is like ancestry, race, species, class is character class, and then story is just a narrative prompt for your character with no rules attached. Okay, our first step is to choose a kindred. That hyperlink means I can hover over it and see the kindreds page. And kindreds, there are, I think, 50 or more. So in this setting, we're looking at an Arthurian, medieval, or Dark Ages fantasy setting that's been invaded by the land of Fairy, the Fae, also by space invaders. But they're not really space invaders. It's actually just pieces of other planets, and some of which are from Earth, that have been grafted onto Britain, which is called Albion in this setting. So the 3 kindred categories are Britons, Wildlings, and Outlanders. And you can roll a d12 and generate one randomly from this table, or you can choose. And we're just going to choose one. Why not be a Burrowling? These guys are fun. Just click on the page. A mouse guy. These are anthropomorphic animals, woodland creatures. This is a kindred page. They all look roughly like this. Tells you their base skill values and their hit points, starting hit points. Stamina points is SP. The skills that they get for being a Burrowling, the languages they speak, and then every kindred also has a traits table. It'll ask you to roll a d6 or a d10, determine what's something specific about your kindred. So we could theoretically roll a d6. I don't have one, but hey, let's be a mouse because that picture is a mouse. But anyway, we're jumping ahead just a little bit already. So choose a kindred. So we've chosen Burrowling. So I'll go back to the main page, and the first entry is kindred. Oops. And what I like to do is when you see a dotted line under it, that means it can be hyperlinked to a page, just so that it's really easy to get around. Hover over it and then click on the chain link icon in the top right, and that'll link to the Burrowling page. So we can always access it easily. Okay, back to the character creation. We completed step 1. Second step, record your kindred's base skill values. So we'll go back to the main page. You'll see down below this very high level information box here, the next one down has space for skills, which are broken up into 3 categories: strength, agility, and wisdom skills. And from your kindred and your class, you will get skill values that will be added together. So you'll get strength, agility, and wisdom from Burrowling, and then from whatever class we pick. And each one will be added together, and you'll get a base skill value from that for your first level character. So we see that this burrowling has a strength of 2, agility 5, and wisdom 5. I can just easily navigate with the back and forward buttons here. And what did we say? So the base strength was 2, and I forgot the rest, 5 and 5. Okay. All right, record it. Record your kindred's hit points and stamina points, and that's on the same kindred page. Hit points 8, stamina points 12. 8, 12. Roll for a kindred trait and record it. That was our mouse trait. Record where you're from. So there's the from entry. Burrowlings are from the Greenwold. So I'll just record that and hyperlink it to the page. And then just for fun, let's quickly go to the map for the setting. It's this tab right here, New Albion. Click on it. It'll bring you to a map of the continent, and each of the regions you can click on to bring up the page for that region. We're from Greenwold, which is here. This is color-coded, this map. Blue lands, either light blue or dark blue, are native to Albion or Britain. The green ones are from Fairy, and the purple ones are Outlands. And you'll notice the Outlands are recognizable, some of them. Greece, Mesopotamia, some of them are fictional. Portugal, Georgia. Yes, Georgia. And the fictional town of Pendleton. Camelot is up here in the north. But anyway, we were looking at our region, which is the Greenwold. Yeah, burrowing shires. It's agrarian, full of tunnels. They're sort of like animal hobbits. But anyway, go back to our character page. So our blank character sheet was down here. So we know we're from the Greenwold. Record your size is the next step. All of this kindred information is on the kindred page. We are small sized. And that maps roughly to D&D sizes. So you'd be like halfling sized. Record your gender. Be a man mouse. Record your languages also on your burrowing kindred page, which are Wieldish and Common, or Weldish. I don't know. And just for fun, if you go to the main kindreds page, there are 3 pages that describe languages for the kindreds. This page will tell you, you can either be fluent, accented, or broken, and so languages matter. Most of them have an overlap with common languages, so you're never going to find yourself in a situation where you don't speak anything that is spoken by someone from somewhere else, but you might not speak it fluently. The language table tells you who's fluent, accented, or broken in what language, but I think the language description is the most helpful. So let's say, for example, Charapu is spoken by the Knolls of the Huntlands. And then this third column over tells you what it sounds like. Similar to the feral tongue, which is what the shifters and werewolves speak, although less dependent on posture, Charapu consists of guttural canine sounds like barks, growls, and yips. It differs significantly from feral in that it incorporates the laugh typical of hyenas into its vocabulary. Some creatures have a language that can only be spoken exclusively by that kindred, like feral because it's using body language or specialized anatomy that other kindreds don't have. Okay. Got our languages. Check boxes beside the skills listed as your kindred's proficiency skills. Burrowlings are proficient in reflexes, nature, and charisma. Reflexes, agility. Check the box. Nature, is a wisdom skill. Charisma is a wisdom skill. Okay, next. Last one from Kindred. Copy and paste your Kindred's perks table below your inventory. You have all perks from your Kindred, as opposed to your class where you have to select them at each level. So we go to the Burrowlings page and scroll down to the bottom. This is where the perks are. This table tells you perks are like feats in this game, so our special abilities, class abilities, all of that. So I just highlighted and copied it. And now I'll scroll down to the very bottom of this page, and there's a floating possible line right there. I'm going to type Burrowling perks there, hit enter, and paste that table. Because all of these are abilities that you start with. And then I'm just going to shrink the table down to fit this window so the wraparound works in the effect box. So yeah, Burrowlings have this ability to bolt. They can get into cover if they're outdoors. Nature sense, they get advantage on nature tests in certain circumstances. Alertness, courage, this one's cool. Unlike this is cool too. When an ally you can see rolls a critical failure, they regain 2 stamina points. That's very useful. Okay, so we have our perks table for Kindred. And we're done with that section. We'll move on to class. In this right column, there are tips for making a character. This first tip says that if you get class skills that are proficiency skills that overlap with Kindred skills, it doesn't actually confer any extra benefit. You're just proficient or not. And that's probably the only relevant one. But next we're going to choose a class. So we can go to this class page. And one thing you can do, I'm not sure if you can do it as a player. It may be only the person designing the pages can do it, but I can do it right now. Otherwise, this is 40 classes. Use a D40 die roller or just pick. But if you right-click on that, there's a choice to select random row. So if you want a random class, do that. Illusionist could be fun, but let's be something weird. Let's be a sniper. Okay, and see this also has an abbreviation for each class that comes in handy. Sniper is SNI. All right, so choose a class. Sniper. And then I like to put the number of levels that you have in the class, and then we'll hyperlink it to the page so we can click on that as a link. The reason you do this is because this game will encourage you to multi-class. Multi-classing isn't available at every level, but when you hit 4th level, you can choose a new class. So you might have 3 levels of your first class. You have to always take at least 3 levels in a class that you start. So I might start as a sniper, take 3 levels of that. Then maybe I want to be an illusionist after that. And then I can start as a 1st level illusionist, but I'd be a 4th level character at that point. But you have to take each class for 3 levels. So maybe you take 3 of sniper, 3 of illusionist, and then this game only really goes through 9 levels to 10th. And for that last block of 3 levels, you could take sniper again, and then you could be a level 4, 5, and 6 sniper at the same time as being a level 3 illusionist, which would make you a 9th level character. Or you could take a totally new class. So you can have up to 3 classes over the course of 9 levels. That's why I'm typing that 1 to indicate I'm a sniper 1. Add your class's base skill values, same as the Kindred skill values. 3, 6, 3, 5, 11. I forgot 3. So that makes it 8. Okay, so now our base skill values are set. That's all you'll be adding to those. And these will never change. This is just a 1st level function. But just to put this in perspective, in this system, you're only ever rolling a d20. You're not adding modifiers, so you're always rolling against a skill, and you're trying to equal that number or less than, and that's a success. If you roll over your skill number, then it's a failure. So you're going to be adding to the base skills. So your agility skills, for example, they'll all start out at 11. We are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but just wanted to give you an idea of where we're going. But you'll be adding points as you go during the character creation process and as you level up. So these are only going to go up from there. But you'll notice strength of 5, that's not very good. It's only a 25% chance at succeeding at anything. So we are definitely very good at agility. You'd only ever start with a max of 12, and you can only go up to 16 as you're creating a character at first level. I digress. Add your class's base skill values, done. Add your class's HP and SP, that's exactly the same as for Kindred. But the Kindred basically sets the HP and SP, and the class just gives you a little boost to both of them. 2 hit points for stamina. 10 and 16, so we have lots of stamina. Okay, check boxes beside the skills listed as your class proficiency skills. We should get 5 of those from Sniper, including ranged combat, obviously, observation, stealth, crafting, nature. Crafting, observation, ranged combat, stealth, nature we already had. Did we get all of them? Okay. Nature, yeah, we did. We have no trained strength skills. Interesting. Okay, next step. Copy and paste your class's traits and perks tables below your Kindred's perks tables. This is an identical step to what we did with the Kindred, but we do it for the class tables instead. So just like the Kindred page, the pages are very similar. So classes may or may not have a traits table. They will always have a perks table with 7 perks. And since this is the entirety of what this class can do, you'll notice with only 7 perks, you're going to choose 2 as a starting character, 3 if you're a human, and then you'll get 1 at each new level. So by level 9, you will have taken all the perks. So multiclassing is sort of baked into the core system. It's just fun. So we'll copy the Sniper traits. Traits, you always get, if you have a level in that class, you have all the traits. That's basically giving you the rules that you need to run the class. And I'll show you what I mean here. I just like to make these heading 3 to stick out. Sniper traits, for example, you have a rifle. You can't buy a rifle. You can only have one if you're a sniper. I suppose you could find one, but you wouldn't know how to use it. That's what I'd say as a GM, unless you have a sniper class level. Tells you all the rules for using rifles and making bullets for your rifle. Okay, but we did that. Now we need to copy the perks table, because that was the traits table. So below the traits are the perks. And I will copy the table. Control C. And then I will type in Sniper perks. Control V. I'm on a Mac, it is Command V. Okay, I will make that heading 3 just for fun. And then I'll resize the table because I don't like to scroll. This is a lot for making a character sheet, I know, but it is handy once it's made. After all these steps, you won't do a lot of fiddling with it like this. All right, got that step. Choose 2 class perks and record your choices. Oh, wait, and it also says be sure to honor perks that have prerequisites. And we do have some of those. So we'll look at the perks table. We're going to choose 2 of them for our first level character. Okay, so what do we have as options here? Suppressor. Rifles are naturally loud, so this would make all of our rifle shots quiet. That could be useful. That is a passive perk. Some of them are more active, where you roll a skill or spend stamina points to use them. Bullseye is similar. If you see nothing in the activation column, it just means it's persistent. This is the effect column here. Bullseye increases the critical threat range. Sorry, critical range. There's no critical threats. That's a 3.5 third edition thing. Bullseye's kind of nice. Deadeye has a prerequisite. You have to have Deadeye to take Bullseye. Sorry, you have to take Bullseye to get Deadeye. Killshot, you'd have to have Deadeye, which is... So this is a chain. Bullseye, Deadeye, Killshot. Oh, Camouflage. Sharpshooter. Add your sniper level to damage for this rifle shot. It's 2 stamina points, but if you commit to that, that's a pretty good bonus. Rapid reload. Reload your rifle as a free action. So normally, you take an action to reload between shots, which means you can only fire every other round. This seems like a really good one. Rapid reload and suppressor, I sort of like. Here's where I'm recording it. It's on the sidebar under the perks tab or heading. And I'm always going to sort of type in, what was the other one? Rapid reload. I always want to append that with the 3-letter abbreviation because you'll multi-class and get multiple perks, and then you won't be confused about where to look for them. Do yourself a favor. Go back to the character creation tab, and we did that. Roll for spells if your class grants them. This one doesn't, unless it says that it does. You don't get spells. Record your class's inventory items. Each item takes a separate inventory slot. Check boxes next to the items you're wearing or wielding. Okay, so let's see what the sniper gets for inventory. Rifle, gunsmithing kit, leather armor, dagger. I always put my armor in the top slot. I'll tell you why later. What else? Rifle, gunsmithing kit, and what was the last one? Dagger. I will also... Well, we'll do that later. So what am I wearing? I'm wearing leather armor, and I am probably going to default to carrying my rifle as a sniper, so that doesn't mean you always have that, but just if something suddenly happens, it's just easy to know what you probably would be carrying. We did that. And then your starting gold pieces, everybody starts with 60. And that is here. All right, so we've done all of our class homework. Story. Let's look at the stories. I really need to make more of these. There are only 30, but I feel like you could do 100 easily. These are all character archetypes. And I really wanted to give them individual niches, but play off of common archetypes that are recognized. Let's say, for example, elder. So you're just older than your companions. Doesn't matter how old. It might be specific to your kindred, but you're just older. And like all older people, you're looking to mentor others, to guide them, lecture them, chastise them, tell them all the stories they've heard from you 100 times already, what hurts, I don't understand your lingo, etc. And then some examples. I think this is useful. If you know who these people are, Flint Fireforge is a dwarf from the Dragonlance books, and Sophie is from Howl's Moving Castle. And let's see. Just some questions to answer about your story. Why aren't you retired by now? What are your aches and pains? Why does everyone need your help? And then some potential goals. You don't have to take, none of this is written in stone. Take it or leave it, but also, especially with the GM prompts. So it's something that the GM can use your story to sort of enhance the role-playing opportunities during a session. So a GM might go through each of the players' stories and, make a little crib sheet for what, how they might interact with the player's story during a given session. Make sure that you're hitting a couple of them during each session, or one at least. And yeah, so we're going to choose Elder. Why not? Hyperlink the page. Done. That's all you have to do for story. You really should do more, like answering at least a couple of those questions. Skills. This is where the big choices come in. Besides perks, this is probably the second biggest choice you're going to make. So copy your base skill values to all skills in their respective categories. So we're looking at our base skill value for strength and copying 5 all the way down. Wisdom is 8. Let me see right here. No. Agility is 11. Done. Okay, now here's where the choices come in, these next two. The first one is adding 20 points among any of our proficiency skills, the ones with the check marks. But we can't add more than 5 to any skill. And no skill can go above 16 at level 1. So we're a sniper. One good way to do this, and this is probably in the little tip section, look at your perks and let them help you decide where to put your points. I have a special ability here, Bolt, that uses my reflexes. Any perk that activates off of a skill that's attached to your kindred will also be one of your one of your proficiency skills that you get from your kindred. So you notice that reflexes, nature, and charisma, we probably have perks that trigger off of at least one or two of those. Yeah, so see reflexes and charisma. So keep that in mind, and then especially with your class traits. So this says that rifles use ranged combat for attacks. Obviously, we're going to want to get that up as high as we can. Other ones, let's see. I doubt there's much more than that. Nature, but that's for camouflage, and I don't know that we would use that so much, maybe. And then nature is used to help make stealth tests. But primarily, I would say reflexes and ranged combat are our priorities. So out of our 20 points, I'm comfortable putting 5 in each, bringing both of those up to the max of 16. Let's go to 15. 16 is kind of excessive. So that is 9 points, 13 points, and then we have these other 4. Let's do observation 3. We have 4 more. Okay, yep, that's fine. So we have our ranged combat. So being a sniper, you need to use your rifle all the time if you're sniping correctly. So putting a lot of points in that attack skill is good. We don't have much in the way of like light melee, so melee weapons, but 11 as a base skill is fantastic. It means you can at least use it. You don't ever take penalties except for kind of the D20 style disadvantage, roll 2d20 and take the worst, or advantage 2d20 and take the best. And it's not all that common, so 11's not actually too bad. That means you're hitting 55% of your light melee attacks, but let's go down here and look at our last. So now you can add +1 to any 3 different skills. The same rule applies, can't go above 16. So this is handy for... All right, I want to do some of these agility skills because they're already so good. It'll make us a good generalist. Acrobatics, I don't know though, but what about willpower? Because that's often a defensive, kind of a saving throw roll. And probably useful to know that willpower, fortitude, and reflexes are saving throws, effectively. But they might also be used for other things, like willpower is used for casting spells, for example. And I will say one more thing, and it's probably a tip here. If you want to wear armor, you need to prioritize armor training skill because that is a prerequisite for wearing armor. And if you don't scale it up fast enough, then you're missing out on damage soaking potential. So that being done, I think we are on our last couple steps. Last step, defense. Determine if you gave any defense from armor or shields. I can tell you right now that we don't. So the way that armor works, I will go through this quickly. Armor does two things. The first one is it will allow you to roll every time you get injured in this game. After you lose all of your hit points, you don't die. You might go unconscious. You make a roll to determine that. If you lose all your hit points, you go to 0. It doesn't go negative. You have to roll an armor save. And the way to do that is your inventory, everyone's inventory has exactly 12 slots. So you roll a d12, and if the die roll represents one of the slots that has armor in it, like leather armor. If I rolled a 1, it would prevent an injury. If you get 5 injuries, you die. Injuries are permanent. When you get one, you have to write it in one of your inventory slots. And then usually you're going to tell why. Like, yeah, I don't know. Blew my tail off with poorly placed dynamite. Or something like that. But it should represent what actually caused the injury. Bitten by a beholder, I don't know, something like that. So that's one thing that armor does. It should be said about that armor, when we go to the armor page, you will see this describes armor saves, and then defense is damage reduction. That's the other thing that armor does for you. Each piece of armor, if you meet the prerequisite armor training, gives you 1 defense, which you would record right here. So if I had a high enough armor training to get defense from leather, I would put 1. It's just 1 per each piece of armor. And we'll go back to the armor page. So some armor can be layered. Leather cannot. It has a prereq of 9. We only have a 5 from our base strength. We could have gotten that up to 6 with one of our +1 skill bonus increases. But it's just too far to get even to 9, so it's just not worth investing in, I don't think. But so leather can be worn alone. You could use a shield with it. So if you had 11 armor training skill and you had leather and a shield, you would get 2 defense from that. Let's say you had leather and a shield but only 9 armor training skill. You would get 1 defense from the leather but no defense from the shield. But carrying the shield does help you with your armor saving throw. It gives you 2 slots that are equipped with armor. And as far as layering armor, gambeson is a soft underlayer of armor. You can wear chainmail over that and plate mail over that. So that would be, if you qualify for that, if you have armor training of 15 and you're wearing those 3 pieces of armor plus a shield, you can get up to 4 DR or defense, which is damage reduction. It absorbs damage from every hit. And then you also have 4 slots containing armor on your inventory, meaning 33% of your armor saves will succeed, and it'll keep you alive through several injuries that you probably will prevent. A tower shield has the highest prereq, and it gives you 2 defense. So that's how armor works, and hit points for that matter. But we know, to answer the question, we have leather armor. Does it give us defense? It would only give us defense if our armor training was 9 or higher, so we get 0. That just means every time we take a hit from a bad guy, it's coming straight off of our hit points. There's no reduction. All right, and that's it. And I'll just type my AA. That's who's running the character. Some other things to note here on the character sheet. Minor items are small things that don't take up inventory space. Normally that would be something like a ring or a letter. Potions actually do take up space because they have to be protected from being smashed. That's the logic anyway. But minor items include having a backpack, a bedroll, and a tent, so you can always camp and not have to think about those things. It's just assumed that you have them with you. It doesn't take up inventory space. And then your spells you'd record here if you had any. You can change this picture by deleting it, clicking add an image, and then put whatever you want, or make it a burrowling. And you can resize it with this little guy there. There. Just click the checkbox. So you're good to go. Character done. What can we do with this character? He has really good base skills for agility, so he's pretty competent in all of the agility sort of things. He can be stealthy, avoid traps, um, and area effects, uh, great at ranged combat, decent with a melee weapon, probably can pick a lock with that if you had a lock picking kit. So we have 60 gold. You can also spend that at character creation. Um, let's see. I think it's this over here, this equipment page. Yeah. To simplify common items. They just cost 20 gold each, except for the ones that are uh, stated that they're more, like lockpicks. So we could buy up to 3 of these things if we wanted to. Why not a rope and a grappling hook? I mean, that makes sense. For a sniper to get some high ground. Oops, not that long of a rope. And a grappling hook. If I were a nice GM, I would do this. I would allow this. This game is not meant to be super rules heavy. So if that makes sense, and it does, it should be allowed. Okay, well now he can climb. Sadly, climbing is athletics, and he only has a 5. Maybe he can descend with that rope and grappling hook. He can go down a cliff. Yeah, what else? But his rifle, here's something we can do. His rifle, we would know from this class trait rifle. It does D12 damage, has a long range, 25 zones, 500 feet. Takes an action to reload between shots, but not for us. Let's see, you do have to use your move to aim it. But I would just do this. I would say for that rifle inventory slot, I'm going to put my skill level in brackets. So when I look at my rifle, I always know what I need to roll under. Just don't forget to update it when you increase your skill. The next I would put the damage that it does, D12. And then in parentheses, I just put any notes. Takes a free action to reload. Move action to aim for firing. Disadvantage. Well, what's happening there? Against targets in same zone or adjacent. And then I'm going to put as a separate entry that it is suppressed. If any of these abilities took stamina points, I would just type down the stamina points too. So I know how much it takes to use it, but these are both, that's a free action and this is a persistent, so. Yeah. Dagger, I am rolling a 12 or less to hit with it. And it does a d4. Okay, now we're done. We can shoot stuff. We can be sneaky. We are good at reflexes, reasonably observant, very weak. Not a lot of hit points, no armor. Definitely a glass cannon. What would I do next for this character? So let's say it was time to level up. I'd go to this tab here, leveling up. You get a level after you resolve a quest. This is sort of up to the GM. Maybe the players established what the quest was going to be, and the GM confirms when it's complete. But you do have to be at a friendly settlement to level up. Being at a friendly settlement is kind of like a downtime phase of the game after you've gone out on an adventure and come back. So that's when you heal up. That's when you get all your stamina points back. But you don't regain hit points or stamina points during an adventure unless you have like a spell or potion or something like that. You don't heal naturally until you get back. So spend the resources carefully between settlement visits. So this is how you level up. You add either 2 to your hit points or stamina points. And then you can upgrade 3 different skills. And the way it works is if your skill is 11 or less, you just add 1. If it's 12 or more, you actually have to roll to see if you can increase it. You have to choose which skill you're going to roll for before you roll a die. So you have to roll equal to or higher than the current skill value to increase it. Otherwise, you just lose that upgrade. But you do roll with advantage if it's a proficiency skill, in which case you're taking the highest number, not the lowest, as usual, for advantage. There are also skill caps per level. You can't go above 16 up to 3rd level. Up to 6th level, it can be 17. 9th level, it can be 18. Sorry, at 7th level, it can be 18. And 4th level, it can be 17. And then finally, you gain a new class perk every time you level up. If you already have all the class perks from your class, get +2 hit points and +2 stamina points, in addition to the 2 that you chose up here. So that's hopefully good compensation for not having any perks left to take if you want to stick it out, ride or die with one class all the way to level 9. When you multi-class, you're making that choice when you level up to 4th and when you level up to 7th. Like we talked about earlier, you have to stick with a class for levels 1 through 3 before multi-classing. And then if you do choose to multi-class, you'll take 4 through 7. Wait, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 4 through 6 as a second class, potentially, and then 7 through 9 as a, progress in the first class again, keep progressing in the second class, or take a 3rd class. There is one class called the Paragon, which can't multi-class. So you always get class traits from a new class when you multi-class. You need them to operate your class. You gain the proficiency skills immediately. You get the starting equipment that's listed in brackets, like for a sniper, that would be a rifle and a gunsmithing kit, but you wouldn't get the dagger and the leather armor because they're not in brackets. You get 1 perk from the new class, and then you get the hit point, stamina point bonus from up here. And then it does say here, just a short note, that usually your character level is just the sum total of all your class levels. If you're a sniper 3, illusionist 2, then you're a 5th level character. But some class abilities, like the sniper's one that gives you bonus damage equal to your sniper level, only count sniper levels for that, unless it just says level. And when you reach 10th level, that is when you level up from 9th to 10th, you are retired, and then you do whatever you want. But when you retire a character, the idea is that you're going to sort of attach them to a settlement that would make sense for that character and have them become an influential NPC, maybe a benefactor. But yeah, I suppose that's all there really is to say about making a character in this game and sort of the basics of how it works even. Let's see. Just trying to collapse all these pages. There it is. So we have this blank character sheet. We did miss one step, and that's to name the character. For now, I'm doing this thing. Let's say this is Charles. Why not? I will write that he is a Burrowing 1. Burrowing Sniper 1. And then I will drag that and drop it in the PCs folder page. Click on the PCs page, you get a listing of all of them. I'll probably make sure that they're sorted alphabetically.